right, let's just go over some ground rules quickly. So for this quiz, for the purpose of this quiz competition, the audience is not allowed to prompt the players of any sort, whether with questions, with whispering, nothing of that sort. If you know the answer, you keep it to yourself. Failure to do that will result in the team losing marks, all of that. We don't want that to happen. And plus, we're in the presence of the Lord, so we want to keep it, above board, and also let God be praised in the mix. Amen? Well, based on this, if it's a case where one of your team members is at the bathroom, how long are they taking? Nerves? And the competition has not even started. Alright, let me get into my competition voice. Here are the two churches for tonight's first match. Bethel West Prospect up against One Way Apostolic. Which team will come out victorious? Alright, we're about to begin. The first section of the match, the alternate section, each team will be given one question alternately until the 4 seconds have elapsed. After the 4 seconds, 4 minutes rather, after the 4 minutes have elapsed, then that would be the end of the section. Each team, after I have finished asking a question, they are allowed 10 seconds to answer the question. Failure to do so in 10 seconds, the bell will ring, and that question will be passed over to the other team for them to attempt that question. No penalty involved. They can attempt it free of charge. If they get it incorrect, they wouldn't lose any mark for that. If they get it correct, they'll get the point, and also they will be allowed to get their question as well. All right? So just a bit of information there. We are about to begin. 4 minutes on the Guardian Omni Educator clock. Are we ready? All right. So we were just testing it, Joel. Thank you. So we can reset it. Thank you. Lovely. Once I start to read the question, then you can start the time. All right. So I do not have a coin, but we need so Pastor has a coin that can lend me. So I'll just allow him to do the coin flip quickly. We'll ask One Way Apostolic to call head or tails. Head. And so they have chosen head. Yeah, man, you can come in the middle here, right? Yeah, man, sure. Oh, I thought you would just make it up on the, yeah, man. All right, that is tails, I believe. All right, so Bethel West Prospect won the toss, but opted for One Way Apostolic to go first. All the best to both teams. One Way Apostolic, your first question. What was the name of Jesus' mother, according to Matthew 1, verse 18? That is correct. Your question, Bethel West Prospect. What was the name of the garden where Adam and Eve lived? Eden. That is correct. Your question, One Way Apostolic. With what food did Jesus feed 5,000 people, according to Matthew 14, verse 19? That is correct. Accepted. Bethel West Prospect. What method did the Romans use to kill Jesus, according to Mark 15, verses 25? That is correct. And one way upon, from which part of Adam's body did God create Eve? That is correct. Bethel West Prospect. Who, when asked or when accused rather of being with Jesus, lied and said that he did not know him 3 times? Peter is correct. One way apostolic. Which creature tricked Eve into eating of the forbidden fruit? Is correct. Bible again for West Prospect. At Christ's crucifixion, what did the soldiers place on his head? Crown of thorns is correct. And Bible again for one way apostolic. What is the first line of the Lord's Prayer? Yes, we'll accept. Bethel West Prospect, your question. What relationship was Ruth to Naomi? Is correct. One way apostolic. Who lied to God when he was asked where his brother was? Cain is correct. Bethel West Prospect. Which Old Testament character showed his faith by being willing to offer his son on an altar to God? Abraham is correct. One way apostolic. What significant event is recorded in Genesis chapters 1 and 2? Is correct. Bible for West Prospect. What was inscribed above Jesus' cross? That is correct, or we will also accept King of the Jews. Bible for one way apostolic. Whose mother placed him in an ark of bulrushes? Is correct. Bethel West Prospect. How many days and nights did it rain in the story of the flood? That is correct. One way apostolic. What was special about Jesus' mother? Is correct. Bethel West Prospect. Who gave gifts to Jesus when he was a young child? Wise men or Magi is correct. And we continue with one way apostolic. What happened to Jonah after he was thrown overboard? That is correct. And Bethel West Prospect, in whose image was man created? Is correct. One way apostolic. How many apostles did Jesus choose? That is correct. Bethel West Prospect. What are the wages of sin? Is correct. Final question to one way apostolic. Who is the first mother mentioned in the Bible? That is correct. Bethel West Prospect. Who else other than the wise men came to visit Jesus when he was a small child? That is correct. And that is the end of the first section of our match. Scores read at the end of the first section. Bethel West Prospect on 12 and One Way Apostolic also on 12. So we have a nail-biting competition at the onset. And considering that no team has gotten anything wrong as yet, we can continue because there is no query. All right. So we move now over to the face-off round. Now listen carefully to the rules. Are we getting nervous? Nothing is wrong with a little nerves. All right. So in the face-off section, each member of the team is going to go up against another member of the opposing team. Whoever you're going to choose to do that is up to you. Now, in this match, we're going to be looking at questions from chapters 1 to 8. So for the first face-off, it will be between 2 players, chapters 1 and 2. For the second player, for each side, it will be 4. The third player, chapters 5 and 6. The fourth player, chapters 7 and 8. All right? Now, for the face-off section, once it's your question, you are allowed to answer or attempt it without losing a mark. However, if you got the question incorrect and it passes over to the opposing team, they will get a chance to answer, or if they don't want to answer, they can refuse and say no thank you, right? Because in this section, your points are up for grabs. Your points, when they try to steal your question, if they get it correct, they get the point. However, if they do not get it correct, if they accept to steal your question and don't get it correct, they're going to lose your point. They're going to lose a point, right? So you don't have to be afraid, but at the same time, you have to be careful and also wise with your decisions as much as possible. Right? So each team have 8 questions each. So each player facing off against each other going to have 8 questions each. So that's in total 32 questions in total when you look at it for the first match face off. So can I have the first 2 persons? You don't have to stand. This is the beauty of it all, right? Yes, not a problem. So who are the first? Could I have a name quick? All right. For the purpose of this competition, is it okay to call it Sydney? All right. And Jessica. All right. So, as we had said initially, Bethel West Prospect had won the toss. However, they had opted for One Way Apostolic to go first. So we're going to continue with that precedent. And so One Way Apostolic, your question. We begin with you. Sydney. Who brought the news of Saul's death to David? That is correct. Sydney, what did the Amalekites claim to have done to Saul according to 2 Samuel 1 verse 9? That is correct. Sydney, how did David react to the news of Saul's death? Question passes. Would you like to try, Jessica? Could you repeat that? Judges, I will deliberate after. So that is question 3. Right. So just that. We'll continue. I haven't fully deliberated on that. All right. Sydney, still with you. What did David command his men to do after hearing about Saul's death? According to 2 Samuel 1 verse 12. No, that's incorrect. Would you like to try it, Jessica? Okay. So that would have been they also tore their clothes and mourned. Right. Sydney, who did David inquire about Saul's death from the Amalekite? According to 2 Samuel 1 verse 14. Would you like to try, Jessica? He asked him how he knew Saul was dead. I said who? Oh, I think there was a discrepancy with that question. Not to worry. We can always sort that part out. I can give him another question. Not a problem. All right. Let me see this.
Hallelujah.
We'll get back to that question. All right. After this section. Continuing. Sydney. What weapon did the Amalekite claim to have used to kill Saul? That is correct. Your question still, what did David do to the Amalekite for claiming to kill Saul? That is correct. And finally, what was the name of the song David wrote for Saul and Jonathan? Can't accept. Would you like to try, Jessica? It's the Song of the Bow. Song of the Bow. All right. So that ends your set of questions. We now go over to Jessica for her set of questions. Jessica, how did the young Amalekite describe Saul's condition when he found him on Mount Gilboa, according to 2 Samuel 1 verse 6? That is incorrect. Would you like to try? We'll accept. We'll accept. Jessica, still with you. Who did David say was the glory of Israel's lamentation?
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
That's incomplete. Would you like to try? Saul and Jonathan is correct. Jessica, where did David say the mighty had fallen according to 2 Samuel 1 verse 19? That is correct. What did David say about Saul's weapons in the Song of the Bow according to 2 Samuel 1 verse 21?
Vilely cast away. Vilely cast away.
That's incorrect. Would you like to try? Would you like to try?
Yes. It will be treated as though it was not anointed with oil. Or rubbed with oil.
We'll get back to that. We'll review that question. So judges make a note of that. Jessica, what does David wish for the daughters of Israel to do in his song?
Mourn over Saul.
That is correct. Jessica, who does David mention in the song as being slain on the mountains of Gilboa according to 2 Samuel 1 verse 21? Yes.
Saul and Jonathan.
That is correct. Jessica, how does David describe Jonathan's love for him in his lamentation according to 2 Samuel 1 verse 26?
Pleasant and truth.
Not quite. Would you like to try?
More than the love of a woman.
That is correct. Finally, for Jessica, who did David order to teach the children of Judah the Song of the Bow?
The people of Judah. Israel, sorry.
Right answer came first. And that brings us to the end of the first face-off. Give them a round of applause. Yes, I know it was a bit nerve-wracking and all of that, but we've gotten the gist of it, so it should be easier from there on. So we're up to the second face-off, where we have Dacia Shaw and
Patrina.
Patrina. And as customary, one way apostolic will begin first. So, Patrina, your set of questions, chapters 3 and 4. According to 2 Samuel 3, verse 12 to 13, who was the commander of Saul's army who later joined David's side?
Joab.
That's incorrect. Would you like to try this here?
Yes,
Abner is good. Patrina, what was the name of Ishbosheth's captain of the host?
Pass.
Would you like to try this?
Can you repeat the question?
No, I cannot.
Pass.
The answer would have been Patrina, which son of Saul accused Abner of taking one of his father's concubines?
Repeat the question.
I cannot repeat the question. So sorry.
Jonathan.
That's incorrect. Would you like to try this here?
Ishbosheth.
Ishbosheth is good. Patrina, still with you. What did David demand as a condition for making a covenant with Abner? According to 2 Samuel 3, verse 13.
Philistines foreskins.
Not quite. Would you like to try this here?
Yes, his wife Michael.
That is correct. That is correct. Patrina, still with you. How many men did Joab take with him to pursue Abner?
20.
That's incorrect. Would you like to try this here?
Pass.
He did not. There wasn't a specific number mentioned directly in the chapter. But it said that Joab took his men with him. So it didn't specify. So that question was kind of a trick. It happens sometime. Still with you, Patrina. How did Joab kill Abner?
Smote him under the fifth rib.
That is correct. When David learned of Abner's death, what was his reaction?
Pass.
Would you like to try this here?
Yes, he mourned for Abner. He mourned.
Incomplete, can't accept. He mourned and declared himself guiltless of Abner's blood. And final question for you, Patrina. Who were the two men that betrayed and killed Ishbosheth?
Pass.
Would you like to try this here?
Yes, Rachab and Bana.
That is correct. And we now move over to this here. Set of questions. Who was the commander of David's army who later killed Abner?
Joab.
That is correct. I think I heard something a while ago. I hope I was hearing doubles. Alright, let's continue. What was the name of David's captain of the host? According to 2 Samuel 3, verse 23.
Joab.
Repeat.
Joab.
That is correct. Which son of Saul was reigning over Israel when Abner switched sides to David?
Ishbosheth.
Ishbosheth is correct. And who was Saul's daughter whom David requested to be returned to him?
Michael.
That is correct. How many men came with Abner to make a covenant with David according to 2 Samuel 3, verse 20?
2 Samuel 3, verse 20. 20.
That is correct. And Dacia, where did Joab kill Abner according to 2 Samuel 3, verse 27?
At the well of Sirah, by the gate or in the gate.
That's incorrect. Will I try?
In Hebron.
That is correct. You have to be specific there. Daisy, I'm still with you. What did David declare regarding Abner after his death?
I and my kingdom are guiltless forever before God for the blood of Abner the son of Ner.
Perfect. And final question, what did Rechab and Baanah do after killing Ishbosheth?
They beheaded him and escaped in the plain.
Repeat.
They beheaded him and escaped in the plain.
Not quite. Would you like to try?
No.
They brought Ishbosheth's head to David. And that is the end of that face-off. Can you give him a round of applause for that? All right, so we move now to the third face-off. That is chapters 5 and 6. Sister Jody and Johnson. Jody and Johnson and Dawkins. All right. So as customary, we'll begin with one way apostolic. So Dawkins, you're up first. According to 2 Samuel 5, verse 1 to 3, who was the king of Israel when the tribes of Israel came to him in Hebron, acknowledging him as their king?
David.
That is correct. How old was David when he began to reign, and how
30.
long did he reign over Israel?
30. He was 30 when he began to reign, and he reigned over Israel 40 years.
Excellent. What city did David capture from the Jebusites, which became known as the city of David?
Zion.
Repeat.
Zion.
That's incorrect. Would you like to try Sister Judy and Johnson?
The fourth.
Repeat.
Fourth.
No, that's incorrect also. The Jebusites, if you look closely, the Jebusites was a former name of Jerusalem. So Jerusalem would have been the preferred answer. Still with Dawkins, who assisted David by sending materials and workers to build his house in Jerusalem?
Abraham, the king of Tyre.
That is good. And still with you, what did David inquire of the Lord when the Philistines came to attack him, according to chapter 5, verse 19?
Inquire of the Lord if he should go and fight with them.
That is correct. Still with you, how did David defeat the Philistines at Baal Perazim?
He came up behind them by the mulberry trees.
Not quite. Would you like to try?
No.
The Lord broke through upon David's enemies like the breaking forth of waters. All right? Dawkins, still with you. Where did David move the ark of God from before attempting to bring it to Jerusalem?
Pass.
Would you like to try?
The house of Abner.
Wrong person. The house of Abinadab. And final question for you, Dawkins. What happened to Uzzah when he touched the ark of God while transporting it, according to chapter 6, verse 6 through 7?
The anger of the Lord was up kindled and he killed him.
That is correct. And we now move over to Sister Jody for her set of questions. Oh wow, this match is a very tight one. Love it already. Sister Jody, your time to get something on the board. All the tribes of Israel come to David, recognizing him as their king.
In Hebron.
That is good. How long did David reign in Hebron, and how long did he reign in Jerusalem, according to 2 Samuel 5, verse 5?
In Hebron he reigned 7 years and 6 months, and in Jerusalem 30 and 3 years.
Excellent. Sister Jody, what did the Jebusites say to David when he came to capture their city?
You shall not come in with the lame and the blind.
That's
Unless you put away the lame and the blind, you cannot enter.
that is good. What did David recognize after Hiram, king of Tyre, sent materials and workers to help him?
That the Lord has established him, right? The Lord was with him.
Not quite. Would you like to try, Dawkins?
Pass.
David perceived that the Lord had established him king over Israel and had exalted his kingdom. Sister Jody, what did the Lord say to David when he inquired about attacking the Philistines the second time, according to chapter 5, verse 23 and 24?
Thou shalt not, he told him that thou shalt not go up. You must not go up. The Lord will fetch a compass about him, and you must go to the mulberry. Then when you hear the sound in the top of the trees, they should go up against them.
That is correct. Sister Jody, what was the name of the place David defeated the Philistines after the second inquiry of the Lord?
Beth, pass.
Would you like to try?
Baal Perez.
Not quite. It's the valley of Rephaim, according to 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 22 to 25. All right, Jody, 2 questions. Who drove the new cart carrying the Ark of God when it was being moved to Jerusalem? According to chapter 2 Samuel 6, verse 3.
Abinadab's 2 sons.
That is correct. Final question for you, Sister Jody. What was David's reaction after Uzzah died for touching the Ark of God?
He was displeased.
Incomplete. Would you like to try? He was displeased and afraid of the Lord, and he called the place Perez Uzzah. All right, and that ends the third face-off. All right, we now move over to the fourth and final face-off between Sister Tracy and Cunningham and Joel. All right, so Joel, we will begin with you. In 2 Samuel 7, verse 1, where was David dwelling when the Lord had given him rest from his enemies?
Hebron.
Not quite. Would you like to try, Sister Tracy?
He was dwelling in his house.
That is correct. Specific verse. So if afterwards you want to query, we can look and see where the discrepancy is. Right? So in 2 Samuel 7 verse 2, David speaks to Nathan the prophet. What did David say about where the ark of God dwelled?
It dwelled in tents.
That is acceptable, is correct. Joel, in 2 Samuel 7 verse 5, God asked Nathan to tell David a message. What was the first thing God said?
He asked David, shall thou build me a house? He asked David about building him a house.
That is correct. Still with you, Joel. In 2 Samuel 7 verse 6, what does God say about his dwelling place since the time he brought the children of Israel out of Egypt?
His dwelling place has been tents and tabernacles.
That is correct. According to 2 Samuel 7 verse 8, who was David before God made him king?
Shepherd. He
That
was-
is, that is correct. In 2 Samuel 7 verse 14, God makes a promise concerning David's son. What does he say he will be to David's son?
He'll be his father.
That is good. In 2 Samuel 7 verse 15, what does God say about his mercy towards David's seed compared to Saul?
His mercies will not depart from his house as it depart from Saul's house.
Excellent. And final question. According to 2 Samuel 7 verse 22, how does David describe God in his prayer?
He described him as the mighty God, as the one that
Not quite in this verse. Would you like to try, Sister Tracy?
In verse what?
No, I can't repeat.
God of hosts.
That's incorrect. For thou art great, O Lord God, for there is none like thee. So that's the description. All right, so we move over now to Sister Tracy for her set of questions. You know that you can also not attempt if you want. That was our option. So I'm just saying, putting it out there. Can it seem like I love your enthusiasm in terms of how you try to attack every question, but you can actually not attempt if you don't want to. All right? Sister Tracy, your questions. According to 2 Samuel 7 verse 1, what had the Lord given David after all his battles?
Rest.
That is good. In 2 Samuel 7 verse 2, what did David say he was dwelling in compared to where the ark of God dwelt?
House of cedar.
That is good. In 2 Samuel 7 verse 7, God mentions whether he had ever asked the tribes of Israel to build him a house. What was his response?
Never asked them to do it.
That is good. According to 2 Samuel 7 verse 11, what did God promise David regarding his future and his descendants?
That he will bless. That he will establish his throne, his kingdom, and his house forever.
That is good. Yes. In 2 Samuel 7 verse 9, what did God promise to do to David's name?
Make it great like those of the great men in the earth.
Excellent. According to 2 Samuel 7 verse 16, what is said about the throne of David?
The throne of David shall be established forever.
That is good. In 2 Samuel 7 verse 18, David asks, who am I, O Lord God? What is he reflecting on?
What is he reflecting on? Is reflecting on the fact that he was a nobody, he was just a shepherd boy.
That is correct. And finally, in 2 Samuel 7 verse 25, David prays for God to do something with the promise he has made. What does David ask?
That he fulfilled the promise.
Not quite. Would you like to try?
He established the covenant.
Yes, so I'm seeing words that were there. So the establish is word concerning his house, so we'll accept. Yes, that is correct. And that ends the face-off round for this competition. It was a good one. Enjoyed it thoroughly. So, is there any query? You have 2 minutes to, if there are any discrepancies. So 2 minutes.
Who instead of how, and the lamentation of Bowen. how to use the bow. Amen. I teach them how to use it. And commanded that the children of Israel be taught how to use it.
We're going to be resuming. So for section 4, this is the important round. You realize that we don't have a buzzer system. I didn't get to get a buzzer system for this process. For which one? For which one? Oh. Oh. Oh, they are just, how did David react to the news of Saul's death? Was that the question? Oh, so that one was quits. What did David say about Saul's weapons in the Song of the Bow? So the answer here that I have is they were not defiled. And what was your response? What was your response? I don't think yours had much of a thing. Someone over here had said something. I saw, yeah, the part about the Saul's weapon in the Song of the Bow. You had written something for that? I was seeing you scribbling something. I'm inclined. There are some times where discrepancy is not that big in terms of Song of Bow, Lamentation of Bow, in terms of that because it's the same thing, right? So, right. So that was not the discrepancy. The one here was what did David say about Saul's weapons in the Song of Bow? I have here they were not defiled. So based on that, I did not accept. It didn't really, based on the answer. Yeah, I didn't accept it based on that precedent. All right, so we can continue. So, section 3, the buzzer section. All right, so in this section, teams will have, teams will have a chance to answer as many questions as they would like. I mean, it's not alternating, so No, it's not general knowledge. It's like everything, like any part of Second Samuel, right? So this part is where you lose the big bucks. So 2 points for each incorrect answer, and teams will gain 2 points. For each incorrect answer, you lose 2 points. For each correct answer, you gain 2 points. Right? If you answer without being identified by your church's name, right, you will lose 2 points. So if you answer out of turn, meaning answer without being identified, or if the other team answers when they're not supposed to answer when I identify the other team, then you lose 2 points as well. So if you get it, if it was initially your question, and let's say you got it incorrect, but they answered first though, and it wasn't their question, they lose 2 points, and you would also lose 2 points if you get it incorrect. But if you get it correct, you'd gain your 2 points. Yes, definitely, by the name of your church. So once you don't hear the name of your church, you cannot answer. The judges will help me out in this section, and the way to identify the teams is by the raising of the hands. So the judges have to be very vigilant in this. All right? And as I said, this is the hazard section. And we will have 4 minutes on the Omni Educator clock. And you in the 4 minutes. Now, Bible knowledge. In 2 Samuel 2, verse 2, where did David and his men go after Saul's death? One way apostolic. That is good. Bible knowledge. According to 2 Samuel 2, verse 8 through 9, who was anointed king over Israel? That is West Prospect. That is good. Question. Bible question. According to 2 Samuel 2, verse 19, which 2 men fought over a contest of speed with Asahel? Bethel, West Prospect.
That would be Joab and Abishai.
That is incorrect. It's Abner and Joab's brother. Bible, again. In 2 Samuel 3, verse 7, who did Saul's concubine Rizpah belong to before Abner took her? West Prospect? Repeat? That is incorrect. It's actually Saul. All right? Bible. According to 2 Samuel 3, verse 10, what kingdom was David seeking to establish over Israel? Go ahead, Bethel, West Prospect. The answer was Judah. No, that is incorrect. He sought to establish his kingdom over Israel. Question, Bible question. What did Abner ask for in 2 Samuel 3, verse 12 to make peace with David? West Prospect.
To make a league with him.
That is incomplete. It means to marry David's wife, Michal. Bible knowledge. In 2 Samuel 4, verse 6, who killed Ishbosheth, the son of Saul? West Prospect? That is correct. Bible knowledge. According to 2 Samuel 4, verse 10, what did David do to the men who killed Ishbosheth? One way. That is good. Bible knowledge. In 2 Samuel 5 verse 3, how many elders of Israel came to David to anoint him as king? Go ahead, West Prospect. That is good. Bible knowledge. What city did David capture and make the capital of Israel in 2 Samuel 5 verse 6 and 7? The answer would have been Jerusalem. According to 2 Samuel 5 verse 10, how did David become increasingly powerful? Time, the Lord of hosts was with him. In 2 Samuel 5 verse 19, how did David inquire of the Lord before going to battle? And that is the end of the match. What a nail-biting and pulsating match. And at the end of the match, the score reads One Way Apostolic on 38 points and Bethel Prospect on 37 points. What a nail-biting match. Can I have a round of applause for the two teams? Congratulations to One Way Apostolic. Very well tried, Bethel West Prospect. And up right now, don't move one way. So we'll have the second match. Oh, you have a query?
He said, who David, who they took the wife of, who they took Michael from.
For which one? For which question?
Was a part there.
Hmm? 2 points? Yes, sir. For which one?
The first incorrect answer. Points were not taken off.
So they didn't lose the point that they got incorrect? First one. Pardon? Pardon? Incorrect. So you took it off? Is there any other person that didn't see it come off? Could have any? Ah. This is the part. The oversight. No, was it running? Is that case where you can go back and through the footage? No, there is no live footage there. We can always go back and review afterwards. But all right, that's the end of the first match. So we'll deliberate and let you know what the outcome of that was. All right. So after a tight match, the score is 38-37. Bethel West Prospect have another match after this, but the next match we have next is Bethel Baptist up against One Way Apostolic. All right, give them a round of applause. They are requesting some water, any water refreshments for. You'd have to probably hydrate in while you play, because trying to. Bless the Lord, bless the Lord, bless the Lord. Here are the two teams for the second match of tonight's competition. We have Bethel Baptist Church up against One Way Apostolic. And we are all aware of the rules, so teams, alternate section, the first section of the match. 4 minutes on the clock. Each team will have alternate questions until the time ends. You're not if the time elapses before you answer the question, the other team has the chance or the opportunity to attempt without a penalty in this section, right, and vice versa. And then they also get their question afterwards. So try not to let the time elapse before the other question. Right, the coin toss now. So Bethel Baptist, I will ask you to head or tails. No, I have a coin. Yeah, man. Head or tails. Head and not the tail. I love that. And head it is. Oh, glory. All right. So what say you? All right. So Bethel Baptist won the toss and decided to go first. Teams, all the best. Remember the rules. All the best for this match. And all of these questions are Bible knowledge. So, Bethel Baptist, who lied when he was asked to reveal the source of his great strength? Samson. Samson is good. Bible knowledge for one way apostolic. What was the name of the man Jesus' mother was engaged to at the time she became pregnant? That is good. Bethel Baptist, which book of the Bible records many of the hymns David wrote? Psalms is good. One way apostolic. From what disaster did the ark save Noah? That is good. Bethel Baptist, what happened to Jesus 40 days after his resurrection?
He ascended into heaven.
That is correct. One way apostolic. What animals did Jesus cause to run into the sea and drown? Swine is good. Bethel Baptist. On what were the 10 commandments written? That is good. One way apostolic. What did Jesus sleep in after he was born? That is correct. Bethel Baptist. What was man created from? That is correct. One way apostolic. What did Jesus do to each of the disciples during the Last Supper? That is correct. Bethel Baptist. To which city did God ask Jonah to take his message according to Jonah 1 verse 2?
Nineveh.
That is correct. One way apostolic. According to Ruth 4 verse 22, who was David's father? That is correct. Bethel Baptist. Which of the Gospels appears last in the Bible?
John.
That is correct. One way apostolic. What is the only sin that cannot be forgiven? That is correct. Bethel Baptist. How did David defeat Goliath?
A sling and a stone.
We'll accept. One way apostolic. What did Joseph's brother do to get rid of him? That is correct. Bethel Baptist. Who wrote the letters to Philemon?
Paul.
Paul is correct. One way apostolic. In what was Jesus wrapped before he was buried? That is correct. Bethel Baptist. What was the name of Moses' brother?
Aaron.
That is correct. One way apostolic. What sin is Cain remembered for? That is correct. Bethel Baptist. The Lord is my shepherd is the opening line to which psalm? That is correct. One way apostolic. What is the last book of the New Testament? That is correct. Bethel Baptist. Who wrote the majority of the New Testament letters?
Paul.
One way apostolic. What was David's occupation before he became king? That is correct. Bethel. who hid two spies but claimed not to know of their whereabouts when asked.
Rahab.
That is correct. One way apostolic, whose prayer resulted in his being thrown into a den of lions. Daniel is correct. Bethel Baptist, what was the apparent source of strength? That is correct. One way apostolic, from which country did Moses help the Israelites escape from their lives of slavery? Egypt. That is correct. And that brings us to the end of the first section of our match. And again, the scores are tied. Both teams are perfect after the first section, 14 apiece. And now we move over to the face-off round. And this round will still be in the category of Bible knowledge. And these sets of questions are still between chapters 1 and 8. So teams already know the rules. The face-off round, you don't lose any marks if you get your question wrong. However, if the opposing team tries to steal your question, they can get it wrong. If they get it wrong, they can lose points in this section. So you have to be wise if you're trying to steal, although you shouldn't steal in church, right? But we're just saying that. Steal a question. All right, so we are ready, and could we have the first set of face-off persons? Sydney and pardon? Carissa. Oh, Arisa. Right. And Arisa, you'll have to speak up in your microphone, all right? Once it's your time. And as we said already, Bethel Baptist won the toss, and so they will begin first, as customary for every round. So, Arisa, your set of questions, chapters 1 and 2. Arisa, according to 2 Samuel 1 verse 8 through 10, who brought the news of Saul's death to David?
A man in torn clothes.
That is incorrect. Would you like to try, Sydney?
And Amalekite.
That is correct. Arisa, what did the Amalekites claim to have done to Saul according to 2 Samuel 1 verse 9 through 10?
He killed him.
That is correct. Arisa, what did David and his men do when they heard about Saul and Jonathan's death?
They fell to the ground and tore their clothes.
Not quite. Would you like to try?
Tore their clothes and wept. Mourned.
That's incomplete. They mourned, wept, and fasted until evening. We cannot accept. All right? Arisa, still with you. What did David ask the Amalekite before he had him executed?
He asked him, how brave was he to go against God's people?
We'll accept. Yeah, we'll accept. What is the name of David's lamentation for Saul and Jonathan, according to 2 Samuel 1 verse 18?
The Song of Bow.
That is correct. Arisa, what does David say about the shields of Saul and Jonathan in his lamentation?
It was not anointed with oil.
Incomplete. Would you like to try?
It was defiled. And treated as though it was not anointed with oil.
That is the full answer. That is correct. Arisa, still with you. How are Saul and Jonathan described in their death in David's lament? according to 2 Samuel 1 verse 23.
They are
Time, question passes. Would you like to try? Um, they were lovely and pleasant in their lives, and in their death they were not divided. And final question for you, Arisa. How did Jonathan for him according to 2 Samuel 1 verse 26?
the unrequited.
Repeat.
Was the unrequited?
Unrequited. You have to kind of specify in this one. For this specific question, it's specific. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Would you like to try?
More than the love of a woman.
That is what we were looking for. So it passed the love of a woman. And no, it's not a very strange thing to say. It was actually referring to how truly he cared for him. All right. We move over now to Sydney for his set of questions. Where was Saul when he was mortally wounded according to the Amalekite? According to 2 Samuel chapter 1 verse 6.
Mount Gilboa.
That is correct. What token did the Amalekites give to David as proof of Saul's death?
Crown and bracelet.
That is good. Why did David and his men mourn after Saul's death? According to chapter 1 verse 12.
Pass.
Would you like to try? Because Saul, Jonathan, the people of the Lord, and the house of Israel had fallen by the sword. Sydney, what punishment did David give to the Amalekite for claiming to have killed Saul?
Taking his life. Killing him.
That is correct. Sydney, what does David say about the mountains of Gilboa in his lamentation?
We'll need a rain or dew.
Incomplete. Would you like to try? Pardon? Okay. Let there be no dew, neither let there be no rain upon you, nor fields of offerings. Still with you. What were Saul and Jonathan described as in battle according to David's lamentation in chapter 1 verse 23?
Pass.
Would you like to try? They were swifter than eagles, they were stronger than lions. Penultimate question for Sydney. Or is this the final question? No, penultimate question. I was right. How does David describe the daughters of Israel's relationship to Saul in his lament according to chapter 1 verse 24?
He had clothed them with scarlet and golden apparel.
That is correct. And finally, what did David say about Jonathan in his lament?
Pass.
Would you like to try? I am distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan. Very pleasant hast thou been unto me. And that is the first section of the face-off. Very good from both teams. I love the tactic, what's going on there, and you can see that the two teams are well matched and they are doing very well. All right, we're now going to the second face-off in this section, and we have Patrina and Amanda. All right, so Patrina and Amanda, this is for chapters 3 and 4. So Amanda, we will begin with you. Your questions coming up. Who was the son of Saul who became king over Israel in chapters 3 verse 8? That is correct. Okay. Amanda, who was the commander of Saul's army who made Ishbosheth king according to chapter 3 verse 6?
Abner.
That is correct. What was the name of the woman who was taken from David and over whom a dispute arose between Abner and Ishbosheth according to chapter 3 verse 13?
Michael. She was Saul's daughter.
Repeat.
Michal.
Michal is good. How many sons were born to David in Hebron according to chapter 3, verse 2 to 5?
6.
That is correct. How did Ishbosheth respond to Abner's anger after their dispute according to chapter 3, verse 11? Time, question passes. You like try?
No.
He feared Abner and did not answer him. Amanda, still with you. What did Abner declare to the elders of Israel regarding David?
He said he wouldn't accept David unless he took Michal as his wife because he was supposed to from before.
Not quite. Would you like to try?
No.
He told them that the Lord had spoken of David, saying he would be king over all Israel. Amanda, what did David ask for as a condition for making peace with Abner according to chapter 3, verse 13?
That he give Michal, who was promised to be his wife because he killed the 100 Philistines.
That is correct. And finally, who killed Abner and why?
Joab and Abishai killed Abner to avenge the death of Ashael, their brother.
Not quite. There's a discrepancy. Can I have your plans? Would you like to try?
No.
Let's hear yours. No. All right. So I have Joab only and not Abishai. So we can check if you want afterwards. All right. And that ends your set of questions. We go over now to Patrina for your set of questions. Who was the son of Saul who was killed in his bed by his own men according to chapters 4, verse 6 to 7?
Mephibosheth.
That's incorrect. Would you like to try? No? It would have been Ishbosheth. Who was the commander of David's army according to chapter 3, verse 23?
Abner.
That is incorrect. Would you like to try? Amanda. No? It would have been Joab. Patrina, what was the name of the woman whom David demanded to be returned to him? According to chapter 3, verse 14.
Michal or Michal.
Michal, that is good. How many sons were born to David by his different wives in Hebron?
6.
That is good. How did Abner react when Ishbosheth accused him regarding Saul's concubine?
Pass.
Would you like to try? No? He became very angry. Patrina, what did Abner plan to do after his falling out with Ishbosheth? According to chapter 3, verse 10.
Pass.
Would you like to try, Amanda? No? He planned to transfer the kingdom to David. Patrina, what did David demand from Ishbosheth before he would see Abner? According to chapter 3, verse 13.
Philistines foreskins.
No. Would you like to try, Amanda?
Yeah, Michal, his wife.
That is good. And finally, Patrina, who avenged Asahel by killing Abner? According to chapter 3, verse 27. That's incorrect. Would you like to try? Joab is correct. And that ends the second face-off. And we have a very tight match on our hands. Excellent from both teams. We go over now to the third face-off for this match, where we have Dawkins up against All right, Delano, you know that you're up first. Chapters 5 and 6. Let's get rumbling. Who anointed David king over all Israel in 2 Samuel chapter 5?
All the elders.
That is correct. Delano, how old was David when he began to reign as king?
30 years.
That is good. What city did David and his men conquer from the Jebusites according to chapters 5 verse 7?
Jerusalem.
That is correct. Delano, what did the Jebusites say to David when he attacked their city?
That he would never be able to get into the city, even the blind and the lame could repel him.
That is good. Excellent. What did David call the stronghold after conquering it?
The city of David.
Excellent. What did Hiram, king of Tyre, send to David to build his house?
Cedar logs, stone masons, and carpenters.
Excellent. What realization did David come to after Hiram helped him?
Pass.
Would you like to try it, Dawkins?
That the Lord had established him and to make him king over Israel.
That is good. And final question, Delano. How many sons were born to David in Jerusalem?
9.
That is incorrect. Would you like to try?
11.
11 is correct. And that ends your section. No, not your section, but your set of questions, Delano. We now go over to Dawkins for your set of questions. All right. Your set of questions. Dawkins, who anointed David king over Judah first before becoming king over all Israel? According to chapter 2. According to chapter 2, let's skip that question right there. Dawkins, yes. How many years did David reign over all Israel and Judah? According to chapter 5, verse 4 to 5. Over all Israel and Judah.
33 years.
That's incorrect. Would you like to try, Delano?
40 years.
40 years is good. Dawkins, what was the stronghold of the Jebusites called before David captured it?
Zion.
That is accepted, or we'll accept also Jerusalem. Dawkins, what did David say would happen to the Jebusites after their mockery? According to chapter 5, verse 8.
Pass.
Question pause, would you like to try?
No.
So what would happen is David said, whosoever getteth up to the gutter and smiteth the Jebusites. We can go back to that afterwards, but yeah. Something would happen to them. In 2 Samuel 5 verse 8, just make a note of that question. But yeah, that was what happened. With you, Dawkins, where did David build his house after conquering the stronghold?
Jerusalem.
No. Would you like to try?
The city of David.
In the city of David is correct. Specific. Attributed versus specific, like you're referencing it to it, meaning, all right, a name can mean that, but it didn't say that in the context or right in the verse, so it have to be right from it. Still with you, Dawkins. Who assisted David in building his house in Jerusalem?
Hiram.
That is correct. Why did David believe the Lord had exalted his kingdom? According to chapter 5, verse 12.
Because Hiram sent him cedar log and mason and carpenter.
That's incorrect.
No.
For the sake of his people Israel. And final question, how many wives and concubines did David take in Jerusalem? According to chapter 5, verse 13.
It's not specific You say take more wives and concubines.
That is good. And that brings us to the end of the third section. That's when you know that they have studied. End of third section. Now we'll go over to the fourth and final face-off for this section. We have Jewel, and Ronaldinho. So Joel and Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho, we begin with you. Chapter 7 and 8. What did David express a desire to build for the Lord in 2 Samuel chapter 7 verse 2?
The house of Cigar. Otherwise a temple.
Not quite. Would you like to try, Joel?
He wanted to build him a house of cedar.
All right, we'll get back to that question. We'll get back to that question. Still with you, Ronaldinho. Prophet David's, who was the prophet David speaking to regarding his desire to build a house for the Lord in 2 Samuel 7 verse 3?
Nathan.
That is good. What did God remind David about his history of dwelling in tents and tabernacles in 2 Samuel 7 verse 6?
He had been with the Israelites wherever they went, dwelling in a tent.
Incomplete.
He has not been in a house since the children of Israelites left Egypt. He has not dwelt in a house.
You're also incorrect. Incomplete as well. He had walked in a tent and a tabernacle, not in a house. So we needed. So we can get back to that question as well. Not a problem. We can listen to the question and see how that is. Right? Ronaldinho. In 2 Samuel 7 verse 8, God reminds David that he took him from what humble position?
A shepherd.
That is correct.
Excuse me, sir. Somebody just called out the answer before you answer.
Who was that? Who did that a while ago? Saints, let me be clear again. We cannot do this. We're in a quiz competition. Only the 4 persons from either team can answer the questions. Failure to do so, if you're a part of any of the teams, they can lose points. Don't want that to be the case. Let us behave according to what we would expect. All right, let's continue. According to 2 Samuel 7 verse 9, what did God promise to make David's name?
Like the name of great men on earth.
That is good. What did God say he would plan for Israel in 2 Samuel 7 verse 10?
An everlasting throne or kingdom through David's offspring.
That is incorrect. Will I try? A place of their own where they would not be moved. Who did God say would build a house for his name in 2 Samuel 7 verse 13?
David's son.
That is correct. Final question. What did God promise regarding the throne of David's kingdom in 2 Samuel 7 verse 16?
To establish it forever.
That is correct. Move over to Jewel for her set of questions. In 2 Samuel 7 verse 3, what did Nathan initially tell David regarding his desire to build a house for the Lord?
Do according as his heart lead him, because God is with him.
That's excellent. Who did the Lord speak to in a vision about David to build a house in 2 Samuel 7 verse 4?
Nathan.
That is good. According to 2 Samuel 7 verse 7, God asked if he had ever asked any of the tribes of Israel to build him what?
A house. He asked.
That is correct. We'll accept. Yes. In 2 Samuel 7 verse 9, God told David that he would be with him wherever he went and had done what to his enemies?
And he would kill his enemies.
Not quite. Not what we're looking for. Would you like to try?
He would make all his enemies rest and grant him victory wherever he went. So rest from all his enemies and grant him victory wherever he went.
Repeat that.
Rest from all his enemies and grant him victory wherever he went.
We'll get back to that one. We'll definitely get back to that one. So you can make a note of that, judges. Still with you, Joel. What did God promise to appoint for Israel in 2 Samuel 7 verse 10?
A place of their own.
That is correct. What did God say he would establish for David's house according to 2 Samuel 7 verse 12?
He would establish their kingdom forever.
Incomplete. Would you like to try?
He would establish a kingdom forever through David's offspring.
That is correct. Your penultimate question. According to 2 Samuel 7 verse 14, how did God describe his relationship with David's seed?
He will be a father to him. He will be a father to David's seed, and he will be his son.
That is correct. And finally, according to 2 Samuel 7 verse 15, what did God promise not to take away from David's descendants?
His mercies as he took it from Saul.
That is good. And that brings us to the end of the face-off round. That is correct. And so the off here we gave a question to one way apostolic. So the that should be changed to 36. Right, so now we're into the section 3.
No, no, no. It's not. No, it was a. We never got it in the first place.
So that was just for clarification purposes. All right. So we're ready to go for section 3. Section lasts for 4 minutes and the Guardian Achiever Omni Educator clock. Right. So match 2, we begin teams. Again, I say approach with caution. You can lose 2 points if your answer is incorrect or incomplete, or if you answer out of turn, meaning if you're not identified. So please, when I'm going to identify you, please do not answer until you hear your church's name. And the teams know all the other rules, so let us begin. 4 minutes on the Guardian Omni Educator clock. Bible knowledge. Who was David's chief military officer as mentioned in 2 Samuel 8 verse 16? And that is one way. Joab is good. Bible knowledge. In 2 Samuel 9 verse 1, what was the name of the son of Jonathan whom David sought? Yes, I saw Bethel Baptist. Mephibosheth is good. Bible knowledge. According to 2 Samuel 9 verse 7, how did David show kindness to Mephibosheth? One way apostolic. That is correct. Bible knowledge. In 2 Samuel 10 verse 1, which king of Ammon died, leading to a confrontation with David? Go ahead, one way apostolic. Nahash is correct. Bible knowledge. What did David send to Hanun, the new king of Ammon, in 2 Samuel 10 verse 2? Time is servants to comfort him. Question. In 2 Samuel 10 verse 5, how did Hanun treat David's servants? Yes, Bethel Baptist.
He cut off half of their beards and cut their tunics at the middle of the buttocks.
That is good. Bible. According to 2 Samuel 10 verse 6, what did the Ammonites do when they realized they had made themselves odious? Go ahead, one way. That is correct. Bible. In 2 Samuel 10 verse 11, who did David send to lead his army against the Ammonites? One way apostolic? That is correct. Bible knowledge. In 2 Samuel 10 verse 18, what was the outcome of the battle against the Ammonites and their allies? One way.
They flee from
are they? So David defeated the Ammonites and the Syrians. That's what I wanted. So that's incorrect. Bible in 2 Samuel 11 verse 2, where did David see Bathsheba? Go ahead one way. Bethel Baptist rather.
She was bathing on the roof.
That is correct. Bible knowledge. According to 2 Samuel 11 verse 4, what did David do to Bathsheba? You can query after, not in how much. According to 2 Samuel 11 verse 4, what did David do to Bathsheba after he sent for her? Go ahead, Bethel Baptist.
He slept with her.
That is correct. Bible knowledge. In 2 Samuel 11 verse 15, what was the strategy David used to have Uriah killed? One way. One way. Go ahead. That is correct. Bible knowledge. According to 2 Samuel 12 verse 7, what did the prophet Nathan say to David after his sin with Bathsheba? Time, thou art the man. Bible knowledge in 2 Samuel, and that is the end of this match. Very neat, biting and pulsating match, I must say. Scores at the end. Bethel Baptist on 48 points. One Way Apostolic on 46 points. We'll check these scores and return to you right after this quick break. Bethel West Prospect, take this seat, please. You guys got the first match, the first point. Yeah, you know the points for the first match, right? The first point. 37-36. Okay. Oh. We're going to decide because it's so close. We're going to decide because based on probably wins or by total point. But we'll double check. We'll let you know based on that. Because based on what I'm seeing here, it's possible that we might have a stalemate. All right. I mean, and considering that both teams here would have lost a point, a match each, it makes it easier for us to determine who goes through. Because if it wasn't that, if one of the teams had won before, then it would have been harder. So this is basically going to determine which team goes on to the final. So automatically, one way apostolic, pardon? Yeah, the finals. So one way apostolic has already advanced to the finals. And so we're just going to decide who will meet. Yeah. So this will decide who will go on to the finals. All right, so some clarification here. So I'm going to call about one way to the stands to sit at the table. So I'm going to explain what happened. So in light of the fact that so Bethel Baptist they deferred out of this section because they were not prepared for this section, right? This chapters 9 to 16, so they deferred out of this section, and so in light of that, Bethel West Prospect would automatically advance to the finals, where One Way Apostolic was already there as well. So we'll just have the finals now between Bethel West Prospect and One Way Apostolic. All right, and I really appreciate Bethel Baptist, and God will God bless you for for just acknowledging that, and we love the fellowship nonetheless, and blessings, right? And I must say, could we give them another round of applause because they have been excellent tonight. They have been excellent, I must say. It just goes to show that they have been digging into the word, and we're very grateful for their participation. And kudos to all the churches who participated thus far in the competition. And we must say that studying the word of God is very, very rewarding. Not only like earthly gains as well, or vanity, but yeah. We'll take a 5 minute break, and then we'll just go right into it. Yeah, so we're going to chapter 17 to 24. So that would be the finals, as was already said. All right. So we're going to take a 5 minute break, and then we'll resume this match.
Blessings, everyone. Just a reminder that we are selling stuff at the kitchen: soup and jerk chicken and bread. The cost for the soup is 200. The cost for the jerk chicken is. The cost for the jerk chicken is. Chef, chef. $800 and $100 for the bread.